Apparently we're not done yet. Chapter 14, Hunted. Four days later. Thursday morning, November 17th. After disposing of our first 3 targets for the week, Mies and I prepared to take out the last 2. We had managed to kill our targets in a timely manner, pulling off 1 assignment per night. But with as many targets as there are days in the working week, we were cutting it close. As such, sparing no time for our usual early morning shenanigans, Mies and I headed straight to our remaining targets' last known whereabouts. We gleaned basic information from their profiles, gathered our things, then set out to discover as much as possible about our targets. Once we boarded a train, I opened the profiles of our targets as Mies leaned over, and together we read through the minimal information available to us. Last up we have Simon Putnam and Martin Valenti, 2 charismatic teenagers with their own private pharmacy. Both of our targets are career criminals, with no permanent residence, no known family, and few associates. They travel from town to town, offering their services before vacating. Richmond has been a safe haven for these 2, given the city's lax approach towards dealing with crime. They've been able to come and go as they please, selling drugs or restocking before moving on. Until now, Karasu's been turning a blind eye to their activities, letting them get away with anything not detrimental to his business. They caused him no trouble, and in return he did nothing to them. It really was a nice arrangement from their point of view, while it lasted. Unfortunately for Simon and Martin, they've made many enemies during their escapades, mostly due to their habit of using their pharmacy for personal reasons. Above all, their use of rohypnol on young girls. These are roofies, knockout pills, state rape drugs, etc. Last week, the duo struck again, this time making the grave mistake of dosing the daughter of a district attorney, then ransoming her back. What Simon and Martin failed to take into account was that Karasu's waste disposal service proved cheaper than their ransom. And as the presence of Mies and I proves, the DA has no qualms about using criminals to punish other criminals. Mies and I eventually arrived in the district of our remaining targets, at which point we headed to the apartment complex in which Simon and Martin were last seen. The streets were fairly empty despite being almost noon, and even as we approached the large complex, we could hear no signs of life. How strange. An apartment complex in the middle of a district, packed with local businesses, should be flooded at this time of day. Instead, since the moment Mies and I got off the train, this place has been a ghost town. How can a business district be so devoid of human life in the middle of the day? Curious about the state of things, Mies and I left the apartment complex and headed further into town. We passed by a couple of people who appeared to be looking around the city in a confused manner, but otherwise, we failed to set eyes on anybody worth paying attention to. Hello? I tapped on the glass window of a convenience store, which, despite saying it was open, was clearly locked. No response. If there is anybody inside, they don't want us to know about it. No good. Just where is everyone? It'll be easier to find and kill our targets if there are a few people around. But at the same time, lurking around when nobody's inside makes me feel like we're in the wrong place. What's more, we don't exactly have time to spare. Even if they're together, we only have 2 days to find and kill these guys. We need to come up with a strategy for finding and dealing with these 2 before we run out of time. We may as well search for them. Actually, no, let's go back and save real quick. Now that I think about it, I never went back and recorded the other route. We may as well search for them. If they are at home, we'll only see them when they leave, in which case we'd potentially run into them out on the street anyway. At least this way we'll stay awake, and I'll surely be far less suspicious than 2 teenagers pacing in front of a building all day instead of going to school. Mies and I continue to walk around the unfamiliar district, looking for our future victims while gaining a feel for the empty streets around us. If it weren't for the crowd can see why Simon and Martin have taken a liking to this place. As Misa and I moved further and further away from the apartment complex, we steadily encountered more people. Rather than coming across adults, however, we found ourselves face to face with young children, likely in their early teens. What is it? Did you find them? Misa pointed towards the school from which children were intermittently arriving and leaving. It's a school, so what? I somehow doubt we're going to find Simon and Martin attending school, especially middle school. They might deal drugs outside of a school, sure, but if Misa's pointing at the school itself, that can only mean you want to go inside, don't you? Then you're out of luck, because that's one place I'm not going to take you, especially not in the middle of an assignment. Misa, I hate to break it to you, but there's nothing interesting about going to school. It isn't fun, and there's nothing worthwhile awaiting us there. Really now, what is Misa's fascination with school? Alright, hypothetically speaking, if you did go to school, what would you want to do? Misa removed her phone from her pocket and immediately began tapping away. Level up. You're on a roll. Keep it up. So, you want to go to school to play games? Well, if they did let you play video games all day, school might actually be worth attending. But as things stand... Misa, I don't know what kind of TV shows you've been watching, but there's no way you'd be allowed to just play games all day. Even if they let you play games when you were a kid, middle school and high school aren't like that. You don't get to play games. You just sit at a desk and listen to your teacher babble on about nothing. Sorry to break it to you, but your life is far more interesting than that of a high school student. But you know, if you like playing video games, I'm sure we could arrange something once I get my old home back. I have plenty of two-player games as well, and Sarah isn't really into video games, so... Misa nodded enthusiastically, enthralled by the notion of visiting my old home and playing together. As amusing as Misa's enthusiasm can be, I'm honestly pretty excited myself. It's no fun playing with someone who doesn't like video games, so competing against Sarah was nothing special, and I was never close enough to anybody at school to invite them over to my house. It'll be nice to have an opponent who actually puts in effort and cares about the outcome. Now, I just want to stand and visit an arcade. Come on, Simon, Martin, show yourselves already. Misa and I walked around outside of the school for a while, giving Misa her fix without actually going inside. We stuck around as students, teachers, and parents all came and went, forcing us to move further away in order to retain a low profile. As we did so, however, our reason for being there suddenly resurfaced. Simon Putnam, one of our two remaining targets. Given his record, it's not surprising that he'd be hanging out near schools and peddling drugs. Lucky us. Damn, we're too far away to hear them. We could get closer, but even Misa and I were of the right age. Neither one of us is in uniform, so we definitely stick out. Not that it matters. The exact exchange between those two is irrelevant. After all, he's here to do more than just talk. In the middle of their conversation, Simon quickly jabbed a needle into the neck of the girl with whom he was speaking. But I can't. I have to go to school. Don't worry about it. We'll be back with plenty of time to spare. My friends are waiting for me. You'll be back before you know it. They won't even notice that you're gone. Really? Why do I feel so? That's a good girl. Don't worry. I'll wake you up once we arrive. Simon walked along with the young girl resting on his shoulder, placing his arms around her and trying his best to make her appear to be walking on her own. To an uninformed, distant observer, they might appear to be just a couple of kids skipping school together, holding each other close as they walked along. Up close, however, the truth was obvious. The girl he took was barely conscious, and her eyes struggled open. Misa and I crossed the road and followed directly behind Simon and his prey, tailing him quietly for another 2 blocks until he finally showed signs of stopping. We You stopped a couple of houses away and watched as Simon entered a battered old home, as empty and lifeless as those surrounding it. Now I understand why Simon and Martin chose this district. With so few people around and no police presence, the crime rate must be astonishing, and they can no doubt do whatever they please without worrying about getting caught. And that fact, is about to become my advantage. In pursuit of Simon, Mies and I went around the side of the house, giving us a front row seat to witness the next stage of Simon's abduction. Upon peering into the house through the back window, it took only a moment to figure out what Simon had planned. Barely conscious and struggling to move, the girl he'd abducted had been laid out on a mattress in the middle of an otherwise empty room. Her clothes were disheveled. She couldn't raise her voice in protest, and not a single passerby would know she was there. Wakey, wakey. It's almost time to play. Simon walked over to the girl's side, removed his hood, and smirked to himself as he anticipated what would come next. Don't talk. Just sit back and let me take you to heaven. Funny. I was thinking of sending you somewhere a little different. Who's there? As Simon approached the girl, Mies and I crept inside. I grabbed Simon by the hair, immediately pressing my blade to his throat so he'd know better than to resist. Don't move. Who are you? What do you think you're... What part of don't move did you not understand? Listen, man, I don't know what you want, but I can get it for you. Money, girls, blow, you name it, anything you want. Oh, anything I want, huh? Yeah, that's right, you want it, I've got it. What's your poison, friend? Well now, isn't that nice? It seems I've bagged myself a modern-day genie. But there's only one thing I want from this scumbag. Martin Valenti. What was that? The moment I stated my wish, Simon became far less accommodating. Plain dumb, huh? Not a smart tactic when you have a knife to your throat. You said you'd give me anything I want. I want Martin Valenti. Martin Valenti? Never heard of him. What an awful liar. In the face of a defiant target, Misa stepped in at last. From behind, she pierced Simon's body with her blade, easily cutting through bone and muscle until the red steel poked through the other side. But Simon didn't scream. Rather than display pain, he merely cried in disbelief. Oh god, this can't be happening. The genuine shock on Simon's face told me that he had neither seen nor heard Misa until it was far too late. Sorry about that, Simon. It seems my partner's getting impatient. We're on a deadline, you see, and we just hate to be late. Simon's expression didn't change. He merely continued to repeat his prayers under his breath. God, oh god, oh god. He won't help you, Simon. If you want to get out of this with the rest of your limbs still attached, tell us where to find Martin. No, I get it now. I know why you're here. You're after her, aren't you? Well, strictly speaking, our job is to kill Martin and Simon. Nonetheless, a certain DA's daughter was mentioned in our assignment. Look, I'll tell you where she is, okay? You aren't too late. The auction starts at 3 p.m. An auction, huh? Apparently neither party wasted any time negotiating this kidnapping. The kidnappers turned the ransom into an auction, and the girl's father commissioned the kidnappers' deaths. With each side playing their hand, the kidnappers flee to a nigh-deserted district, hoping to evade detection until they offload their cargo. This is all coming together now. Just let me go. I'll take you right to her, I swear. You want her back alive, right? It's your job, isn't it? Simon continued to plead, hoping to strike a last-minute bargain. Unfortunately for Simon, he completely misunderstood the reason for my presence. My job? Don't make me laugh. Do I look like a cop to you? I want Martin. And if you can't tell me where he is, then I'm just going to have to start removing the flesh from your bones. One limb at a time. Alright, I get it. I'll talk, okay? I don't know where Martin is right now, but I do know where he will be. The auction. That's right. At 3 p.m. he'll be hosting the auction. About 20 minutes away from here by foot, there's this abandoned church. Go there and you'll find them both. I see. So Martin isn't the only kidnapper, isn't only the kidnapper, but also the auctioneer. I would have thought a man with the target on his back would be a little more careful about showing himself. But I guess he's just as careless as his partner here. So, what happens now? I've told you everything just like you wanted. Are you going to arrest me? I told you, we aren't police. We aren't here. We weren't hired to arrest you. We were hired to kill you. After Misa sliced open Simon's torso from within, spilling his guts on the floor in front of us, we headed back outside and began searching for the location of the auction. So, they didn't say anything about the girl. I guess they just left her there if she wasn't really conscious, otherwise we have another loose end. Although we didn't get an address or even a direction, the time estimate was enough for Misa and I to eventually locate the church in question. Once we had found and entered the church, Misa and I waited until 3 p.m., at which point a few other people began to show up. All middle-aged men, most of them wearing suits. They headed straight past us and towards the back of the church through a partially hidden door. A dozen or so men entered before Misa made her move. She headed to the opposite side of the church, climbing up a staircase leading to the rafters above. From above, Misa pointed at me, then to the room the middle-aged men had entered. No need to tell me. That was my plan from the beginning. Welcome, one and all, to this week's installment of Who's Under the Curtain? I see a lot of familiar faces in the audience tonight, as well as a couple I don't recognize. But no matter how well we know each other, you're all in for a treat. By the time I entered the room, Martin had already begun to address myself and the other members of the crowd. Despite the nature of his auction, he showed no sign of being at all worried, likely thanks to past experience. As I'm sure you all know, we have a very special guest with us this week. Please welcome to the stage, Miss Cassandra Bell. Martin removed the blanket from over an armchair a few meters in front of the crowd, unveiling the prize he had been hiding underneath. Sitting on the chair was a sleeping girl, no doubt drugged with whatever Simon had been using, though with an unquestionably higher dose. It really is her. I thought this was a hoax, but he really does have her. The crowd seemed to grow restless the moment the girl's face was unveiled. So that means the crowd is filled full of people who were on the receiving end of her father's prosecution. Do these guys all know this girl? I could understand them knowing her father, particularly if these men are criminals themselves, but what connection do they have with her? Now that you've all been introduced, I have some news for you all. It seems Miss Bell is looking for a new home, and being the honest, hard-working person that I am, I'm here to make sure she gets what she wants. However, we can't have Miss Bell going home with just anybody. I need you all to prove to me that you really want to take her home. With that in mind, let's start the bidding at $1,000, shall we? $1,000 is the starting price? Oh man, these guys must be loaded. I could probably outbid them nowadays, given how well I get paid, but... 1,000, 3,000, 9,000. Anyone can go over 9,000? Anyone? On second thought, maybe I wouldn't win this auction. I understand that holding the DA's daughter hostage is good leverage, but $9,000? A competent lawyer would be cheaper, if only slightly. My oh my, we do have some generous bidders in the audience tonight. What do you say, Miss Bell? Is 9,000 the magic number? Oops, tough luck, partner. It seems Miss Bell has been brought up on the high life and will need a little more than that. But the game isn't over yet, so show the love and splash some cash before this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity passes you by. 15,000. Perhaps prompted by Martin's lunacy, one final bidder cried out, leaving the others to murmur between themselves as they contemplated going higher. But at $15,000, the auction had already gone beyond most of their expectations, as well as their wallets. 15,000. Did you hear that, Cassie? I'm glad you agree. Unless there are any further bids, I think we have a winner. 15,000 going once, going twice. As the auction threatened to end, Misa at last descended from the church rafters, delivering judgment like a guardian angel. She gently floated to the floor, clutching her blade in both hands, and clothed in a nun's habit, her face concealed. "What's wrong, folks? Why is everyone—" Martin began to turn around, spurred on by the stares of his audience, otherwise completely unaware of what had happened. The left and right sides of his body separated, coating the floor beneath with a mass of intestines. So yeah, for Misa to do that, she'd have to have a very sharp sword. Keep in mind, she's cutting through the skull, the spine, the sternum, and I guess eventually the pelvis. She doesn't have the sheer physical strength to do that on her own, so she'd need the gravity to accelerate that. I wonder how high she'd have to drop from in order to generate enough force to do that. Shock and disbelief quickly turned into panic as the bidders realized what had happened. The auctioneer literally fell to pieces, leaving the obvious questions on their minds. Would they be next? As the last of the bidders rushed out of the room, I walked over to Misa, who had wiped the blood off her blade and onto the robe she had cloaked herself with. I then stepped over Martin's corpse and inspected the prize of the auction before turning to Misa, wondering exactly what we should be doing. That little Indian girl was still partly conscious, and nobody would think to enter an abandoned house decorated with a disemboweled corpse, so she ought to be safe. But what about Cassandra? Those men all know where she is, and with the auctioneer now deceased and the girl herself still unconscious, anybody could abduct her. Screw it. It may not be my job, but the least I can do is phone in an anonymous tip to the police. I wonder if there are any payphones around here. Back again so soon, Sai? You left only 10 minutes ago. I left 5 hours ago. But that's besides the point. I'm here because I have news. Oh, and what might that be? What else? The girl has been recovered successfully, and Senator Bell would like to thank you personally. He would. You're kidding. Of course I'm kidding. He didn't send us thanks. However, he did promise to keep up his end of your agreement. My payout is a promise from a politician? What a joke. Well, you did organize for his daughter to be kidnapped. Even if he doesn't know that, I wouldn't push your luck. I suppose you're right, but it couldn't be helped. We needed a favor to make Adder more accessible, and he was the right man for the job. His assistance will make things easier, yes. That will have to do then. On the bright side, that also means Suoh and Misa are finished with their work for the week, doesn't it? That's right. And with the last of their work done, we can finally begin training for Adder. Next week, that is. A few hours isn't enough notice for me to set up the course. That's fine. I'm just glad you're finally starting. We can't have those kids going to Adder without proper training, right? Sigh. That was the part where you were supposed to say, my Misa doesn't need training, or relax, we've got Adder in the bag. About that. What's wrong? Over the past few days, the number of attacks on our servers has increased dramatically. Furthermore, our citywide mesh network has been flooded, slowing down communications considerably. In other words, someone's trying to hinder us. Or find out what we know. In either case, I haven't heard from Cain or Leon yet, and their GPS coordinates have been erratic. You think one of them is behind this? It's possible, but I'm working under the impression that they disappeared in the same manner as Violet and Vincent, and the others before them. So, we're back to that again, huh? Someone is killing off your team, and we still don't know who it is. This all started when we began investigating Adder. I think it's safe to say who's behind it. Knowing that, do you still plan to continue? How confident are you that Misa, Suoh, and yourself will be able to pull this off? Even without Senator Bell's help, our success is 100% certain. I see. Then we shall continue. As long as the 3 of you remain, we have our team. Starting next week, you will all dedicate your time to training for this operation. I will accept no further work on your behalf. Understood. I will work Suoh and Misa until they're prepared for any situation, no matter how dire. Short chapter? Maybe not. The next day. Friday morning, November 18th. From the moment I woke this morning, I've felt, unlike every other morning this week, both relaxed and content. I woke up without the stress or anxiety that had plagued me since my work for the week began. I woke up without any reason to fret, or to think that I might not accomplish what I had set out to do. Because this morning, for the first time this week, I have no assignments. As much as I enjoy my job, this week has been full on. 5 assignments in 5 days might sound logical enough, but once you factor in travel, scouting time, and the kills themselves, there isn't a lot of free time remaining. Now that my targets have all been disposed of, however, I have a full day of relaxation ahead. Or at least I would. If I didn't have a promise to keep. Strictly speaking, I promised Mies that we'd play together once I had my old home back. After we both endured such a busy week, however, I felt that some fun was in order, even if it was at the cost of time better spent resting. Furthermore, after learning during our brief one-sided conversation yesterday that Misa was one of the legendary gamer girls, I knew I needed to bring her here. Whether Sarah is right about the whole gamer girl stereotype being dead or not is irrelevant. All I know is that Misa was thrilled when I suggested playing a 2-player console game at my house, and she jumped at the opportunity to enter this den of acne and sweat. So whether Misa really is a gamer girl or just another teenager addicted to her phone, I couldn't be happier. Is this your first time coming to a video game arcade? Then allow an old pro to show you the ropes. As Misa looked at the ancient machines with awe, I took her over to the counter where I exchanged a $20 bill for a handful of coins. Then, coins in hand, Misa and I walked around the arcade looking for a free machine on which to try our luck. And first up, we have a classic. Racers, on your marks. After running Misa through the basics and having her study the instruction screen, the two of us straddled the plastic motorbikes prepared to race. 3, 2, 1, go. And off we go. Misa and I flew from the starting line, taking an early lead ahead of our AI competitors. We sailed down the near-empty road, cleared our first corner, and then 20 seconds in, and we have our first crash. Misa may have gained an early lead by putting the pedal to the metal, but that won't cut it going around corners. Eyes on the road, Misa. You may have infinite lives, but you'll never beat me like that. Brushing off my comment, or perhaps taking it as a challenge, Misa recovered from her first crash and entered the race once more with renewed enthusiasm. A few AIs overtook Misa as she regained her speed, but before long she was climbing the ranks once more. Misa took the next few corners with caution, accelerating only down straights. And just as she looked to regain second place, she crashed once more. Sorry, Misa, but it's just that kind of game. It doesn't matter how good you are, crashing is an inevitability. Ready to concede defeat? That's the spirit. If I were playing against Sarah, she'd have thrown in the towel by now, calling the game stupid and simply walking away. Thankfully, Misa actually cares about the results, no matter how many times she crashes. Yep, crashing is an inevitability indeed. That's what I get for not paying attention. Okay, no more distractions. I won't lose my lead that easily. You're going down, Misa. After a vicious first round and innumerable rematches, our first $20 vanished into thin air. As Misa improved, we continued to raise the difficulty of the game, and by the end I was just barely managing to stay in first place. But Misa's enthusiasm didn't wane, and the competition which she and the increasingly skillful AIs brought made it $20 well spent. Don't be too disappointed. You can't win them all, Misa. Though she certainly did give me a run for my money. Next, how about a game that doesn't require you to lean over the entire time? Thank God, my back can't take much more of this. Wonder if there are any shooting games where I can lay down and snipe for a while. After spending the first few hours of our morning inside a cave of adolescent miscreants, most of whom were skipping school, Mies and I headed out into town to indulge in natural light. The The arcade was fun, and Misa did seem to enjoy herself, but a few hours in there was more than enough. After all, as much fun as an arcade can be, there are only so many times you can hear, boom, a headshot, before you feel like strangling the 12-year-old next to you. The sooner I'm reunited with my own gaming consoles, the better. With lunchtime rolling around and the only items on the arcade menu being grossly overpriced and unhealthy, Misa and I began our search for food. As we walked, I pitched some ideas for our post-lunch destination. Still nothing extravagant or terribly interesting, but certainly far more targeted than before. At this point in time, my suggestions are based on 3 criteria. The environment should be quiet and or scenic, like a park or desolate district. There should be water nearby, be in the form of a lake, beach, or even just a fountain. There should be games involved, digital or physical, preferably 2-player. If a location matches at least one of these criteria and doesn't pose any threats or force any complications, then it's a viable suggestion. If it's dangerous, the likelihood of running into someone I know is high, or it's far enough away that we'd be gone all day, it's off the table. With those criteria in mind, I pitched several ideas, but how about going to the movies? I don't know if there's anything worth watching, but I'm sure. Rather than shoot down my ideas, Misa agreed with every single one of them. As happy as I am that Misa is easy to please, she isn't making this easy. I mean, if Misa reacts the same way to every suggestion I have, how am I supposed to know what she really wants to do? Looking at Misa's smiling face, I could tell that she meant no harm in arbitrarily agreeing to all my suggestions. She was simply happy to be out and about, spending time in a casual setting without worrying about work and the complications it always brought. Whatever. I know there's cinema around here, and it's certainly the easiest destination I've come up with, so... Alright, the movies it is. After eating a quick lunch in a restaurant along the way, Misa and I located a cinema near the local supermarket. Its location, and indeed the idea of going to the movies, was planted in my head by Sarah, who wanted to go watch a new romantic movie called Love from Beyond. I feel kind of bad coming here without Sarah, and she'd be pretty pissed if she knew I was taking a girl here on a date based on her input. But so be it. If Sarah learns of Misa's existence, I'll have other things to worry about. So, if I sound a little distracted, I was actually trying to read the popcorn here. I know movie concessions are kind of outrageously priced these days, but damn. I'll just have to take Sarah here over the weekend and pray the cashier doesn't remember me. Once we reached the counter, Misa stood in front of the list of movies currently showing, trying to find something worth watching. The listings contained the age classifications, genres, and viewing times, but no information about the movies themselves. There were also posters plastered all over the lobby, portraying select moments of specific films, yet never giving a clear indication of what the movie would be about. It looks like Misa isn't having much luck. I don't know about her, but I have no idea what these movies are supposed to be about, let alone if they're going to be any good or not. Seems Misa's made a decision. Or rather, she's narrowed it down. Let's see now. The Final Parting, Schoolyard Adoration, First Comes Love 18+, Love from Beyond. Crap. Misa's just gone by the genre. Those 4 are the only romance films on the list. She didn't even look at the age ratings or the content warnings. I guess that's what I get for letting her pick. Sometimes I forget that Misa is still just a teenage girl. Even so, she could have picked at least one action movie. They didn't all have to be romance films. You can actually choose this? So yeah, So I have to explain this a little bit for those that aren't in the US. We actually have 2 ratings that fit this criteria. The first of which is the rating of R, which is restricted. You need to either be an adult or have one with you to get in there. And then you have the much more infamous NC-17 or X, which is usually reserved for pornographic stuff. And Basically, for those, you're not getting in unless you are of age. So I'm not entirely sure if this is supposed to be rated R or rated X. But sounds like fun, let's go for it. Neither one of us is over 18, but I doubt the ticket sellers get paid to care. Besides, it's the only 18-plus film of the three. First Comes Love will no doubt be the best. So yeah, I guess it's supposed to be rated R instead of X. Alright then, tickets, popcorn, and then into the cinema. Now, that was unexpected. When we purchased the tickets, I figured the smirk on the cashier's face was due to the fact that Misa and I were obviously underage. As it turned out, however, the 18-plus age rating was completely warranted. Well, that was interesting. Misa hasn't looked me in the eye once since we left the theater. She was fidgeting around the entire movie, and from the moment it finished, she's been intermittently looking my way, then quickly turning away. I don't think she was prepared for a movie with so many sex scenes. So, was that the first time you've seen a movie like that? What the hell am I asking? Questions like that aren't going to make this any less awkward. Well, I could have guessed as much, though I didn't think Misa would actually answer. At any rate, her father can never know about this. As our day together came to an end, I visited Karasu's office in order to drop Misa off. Usually we'd part ways in the meeting room, but without Sai there to greet us, I thought Misa might appreciate being left in someone else's company. As luck would have it, however. Ah, there you two are, right on time. It wouldn't kill you to get back earlier, you know. Our arrival was anticipated. Don't be like that, we were just out having fun. Isn't that right, Misa? I suppose there's no problem then. As long as you're both safe and back before dark. Did he just say, as long as we're both safe? My oh my, did Papa Sai accidentally say what he really felt? What, did I say something wrong? Not at all. It's wonderful to see you show affection for your daughter's boyfriend. What? Father, I never knew you cared. Care? But you don't be absurd. I just don't want you killing yourself before the big day, got it? By the big day, you mean... What? No, not that kind of big day. I mean adder, okay? Adder. You know, not many people realize that Sai is a tsundere. Tsundere my ass, I was just being considerate, damn it. Fine, you know what? You can brief those two without me. Whoa, he actually left. It appears as though I took things too far. Sai is a serious person by nature, so he's surprisingly susceptible to this kind of mockery. I never would have guessed. Sai always seems so invulnerable, be it during training or at meetings, but here in this room with his daughter and boss on either side of him. I suppose even Sai has his weaknesses. So what did the two of you do today? Oh, you know, the usual. We started off the morning by going to an arcade, then grabbing lunch. An arcade, you say? How wonderful. And then, what did you do after lunch? We went to the movies. I see. That is indeed a popular date spot among teenagers. So, tell me the details. The details? You know what I'm talking about. What did you see? Was it a romantic movie? I knew it, I knew it. And how did it go? Did you two sit together? Did you share a drink? Did you hold hands? Did you kiss? Alright, that's enough. It was just a movie, okay? They did not sit together, they did not hold hands, and they certainly did not kiss. Sai heard all of that, huh? I thought he'd left us alone, but I guess his paternal instincts were just too strong. So, yeah, let's rub some salt in the burn. Actually, Father, we did. Oh ho ho! You did what? Sit together? I suppose I can overlook such a minor transgression. Of course we did. Why, when we sit together, I couldn't just leave Misa by herself, could I? That's right, you were just keeping her company as any responsible person would do. Exactly right. Of course, that's not all we did. Isn't that right, Misa? You enjoyed the movie, didn't you? This can't be. No, I'm sure you have nothing to worry about. You two know about using protection, don't you? After playing down what really happened, and successfully calming Sai down, the four of us eventually returned to the topic at hand. I then made a quick phone call, leaving a message on the answer machine at home to let Sarah know that I wouldn't be back until after she went to bed. And surely enough, before I realized it, it was time for our usual Friday night meeting. Upon arriving at the usual place at the usual time, I found myself confronted by an unusual sight. Waiting in the meeting room were Sai, Karasu, and Misa. There was still no sign of Violet or Vincent, and more notably Cain and Leon failed to show. Still no sign of them, huh? Now even Cain and Leon have vanished without a trace. Even after waiting in the meeting room for half an hour, none of the others had shown up. Ordinarily, I would have simply thought they couldn't make it or they'd reported to Sai already, however. I've tried tracking their phones, but it seems they've either been destroyed or taken out of range. If they were simply turned off, we could at least ping the embedded receivers in the devices, but as things stand... Yes, I'm afraid we must assume the worst. Like Vincent and Violet, and those who came before them, Cain and Leon are likely dead. Damn. I thought I was just jumping to conclusions or being paranoid when I assumed they had been killed, but even Karasu agrees? Yes, in all likelihood, they're both deceased. Upon hearing Karasu's conclusion, neither Sai nor Misa seemed terribly surprised or even startled. Thinking about it logically, I guess it isn't all that unexpected. This is that kind of business after all. But for so many of us to disappear like that, and so suddenly, the next one to disappear could be... With that in mind, we won't be accepting any more work for a while. Training and meetings aside, you two will be on break until our business at Adder has concluded. After that, we will regroup and reassess the situation. So we're still pushing forward, huh? As long as the four of us are alive, we're still breaking into Adder. It's nice that we'll be having a break from work, but with training and Adder still on the table, I don't think I'll be able to relax. Worse, if someone really is killing off my coworkers and only the four of us remain, then in all likelihood, you're next. Exactly. Even if I'm not killed in the same manner as my coworkers, I may very well perish upon breaking into Adder. No matter how I look at my situation, one thing is for certain. The end is near. As I trekked back up to the surface world, I breathed deeply, slowing down my heart rate and calming my nerves. I really need to relax already. Worried about what might or might not happen won't do me any good. Besides, as long as I keep up my training and follow Sai's instructions, I'm sure we'll be... Misa? The moment I reached the parking lot, Misa ran into me from behind with surprising force. Misa followed me all the way up here. I didn't hear her at all while we were ascending the staircase. What's wrong, Misa? Couldn't wait until Sunday's meeting to see me again? I guess she isn't here to play around. So you're worried too, huh? It is pretty unnerving knowing that we could be targeted next. But as long as we're careful, I'm sure nothing bad will happen. In your case, I doubt anybody would be stupid enough to risk invoking your father's anger. Still nothing, huh? I guess Misa isn't naive enough to believe that we're out of harm's way. Worse, I have no knack for consoling people. At least in Sarah's case, I have a good idea of how she'd react and how to comfort her. But as for Misa, when it all comes down to it, I don't have a clue how to handle this girl. We may spend a lot of time together, but all Misa and I usually do is play around and work. I have no idea how to reassure her in a situation like this. I guess I should just leave that to her father. Well, I have to get going now. except when I'm not there. I'll never hear the end of it, so... see ya. Okay, now, that was impressive. Unaware of her presence the entire trip, it wasn't until I reached my doorstep that I realized Misa had followed me home. Rather than display concern or worry, however, Misa smiled brightly, happy to be at my house once more. I appreciate the concern, but no matter how worried Misa is about our coworkers going missing, following me home is a bit... Isn't it usually the guy's job to escort the girl home? No, never mind. More importantly, is it really alright to just disappear like that? Won't your father be worried? Besides, my sister's home right now, you know, and if she finds you... I guess I have no say in the matter, huh? Well, if Misa's going to break into my house, at least she waited until I was with her to do so. It's definitely better than waking up in the middle of the night to find her raiding my fridge or watching me sleep. Just wait here, alright? I'm going to make sure Sarah's still asleep. If you hear Sarah approaching, hide immediately, understood? At least Misa knows how to follow orders. That's not good. I know I wasn't here at our usual bedtime, but I still figured Sarah would go to sleep without me. She didn't stay up watching television again, did she? If Sarah's passed out on the couch, I don't want to have to carry her to bed. Nope, not living room either. Could Sarah have woken up and gone to the toilet? It is the next most likely place for her to be at this time of night. But if she is in there, and Sarah's fallen asleep, I really don't want to carry her out of there. Well, I can't hear anything. If Sarah is in there, she's definitely fallen asleep. And if she isn't in there, then... Wait a minute. Something isn't right. If Sarah had gotten up to go to the toilet, wouldn't she have turned the light on? Furthermore, thinking back, Misa didn't appear to pick the lock on the front door. She just turned the knob and it opened. But I never leave the house without locking up first, so that must mean... she's gone. Oh no, 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 no. Sarah couldn't have gone out looking for me, could she? But if she isn't here and the door is unlocked, then... Damn it, she did go out looking for me, didn't she? How could she run off like that? It's the middle of the goddamn night. I don't care how worried she was. Being worried is no excuse for being careless. This is a bad town, and bad things happen to young girls who wander around at night. If I don't find her quickly, Sarah might... Not now, damn it. Sarah's left the house to look for me. I've got to find her before... The bathroom. I swear, if Misa's playing around at a time like this, I'll... Sarah...